Hey folks, welcome back. In the last story, I spilled the beans on a wild crew of 18 London crooks who pulled off the most audacious train robbery in British history, a real-world shocker that even got turned into movies. But hold on to your hats. The sequels got more twists, more thrills, and a whole lot more adrenaline. The big headline: two of the crooks nabbed after the heist managed to break out of prison, locked up in different jails, yet both pulling off flawless escapes. So how in the world did they manage that? Stick around, because I'm about to take you deep into the heart-pounding tales of their getaways. Last time, I broke down the train heist masterminded by 4 key players from the Southwest London gang. First up, Bruce Reynolds, 31, the ringleader, a slick antiques dealer with a shady side hustle. Next, Darl Goody, 33, a top-notch barber who knew how to cut more than just hair. Then there's Ronald Edwards, 32, a hard-hitting boxer with fists of steel. And finally, Charlotte Wilson, 31, the boss's trusty sidekick. After the job, Bruce and Edwards hightailed it out of the country, but Goody and Wilson weren't so lucky. They got collared and slapped with 30-year prison terms. Let's kick off with Wilson's story. Born in 1932, he was a businessman with a knack for finance, which landed him the gig of handling the gang's money after he joined the Southwest crew. Hit with that 30-year sentence, Wilson was gutted. Back then, the UK had no parole system, meaning he'd be stuck behind bars for 3 decades, practically half his life. Some folks cried foul, saying the judge went overboard with such a harsh ruling, but the verdict was set in stone, and there was no turning back. That left Wilson scared stiff and burning with resentment. After the trial, they shipped him off to Birmingham prison, smack dab in the middle of England, a spot with killer transport links. Birmingham's the UK's second-largest city after London, and its prison, once known as Winson Green, is an old-school men's lockup built way back in 1849. It can hold up to 1,000 inmates, and that's where Wilson found himself starting April 1964. Life in the clink wasn't a picnic. He swore to himself he'd bust out one day, unable to stomach the thought of rotting there for 30 years. He couldn't wrap his head around that reality, so every single day he racked his brain for an escape plan. But breaking out? That's no walk in the park. UK prisons are ranked from A to D, with A being the tightest security, judged by stuff like how dangerous an inmate is, their escape risk, and the damage they might do to society if they got loose. Wilson's B-grade joint wasn't the highest security, but escaping was still a Herculean task. Here's the shocker. Just 2 months into his sentence, Wilson pulled off the impossible and broke free. It went down in the wee hours of August 12, 1964. 3 masked dudes snatched a ladder from a nearby construction site, hauled it over, and slipped into the prison through the adjacent mental hospital. Along the way, they cold-cocked a guard and his dog, shoving them aside like it was nothing. Snagging the keys, they unlocked Wilson's cell and sprang him loose. Next, they propped that ladder against the prison wall, only 3 meters high, so it was a perfect fit, and the whole crew bolted over it. From the moment Wilson left his cell to scaling that wall, it took a mere 3 minutes flat. It wasn't until the next morning that word hit the streets. The infamous train robber had busted out, sending shockwaves through Britain once again. Just 2 months after the trial, Wilson's escape triggered the biggest manhunt the UK had ever seen. Cops threw up roadblocks on highways, ramped up surveillance at airports, train stations, and seaports across the nation. But Wilson, he vanished without a trace. Rumors swirled. He was holed up somewhere in London, or maybe he dodged across the English Channel to northern France. The real deal? He whisked his family off to Hull, a famous little town in France right on the Quebec-Ontario border in Canada. There, he reinvented himself as Ronald Lowe and lived under the radar with his crew. Wilson's slick breakout didn't just rattle Britain, it lit a fire under another gang member, Ronnie Biggs. At 34, born in London and a carpenter by trade, Biggs also copped a 30-year sentence. He wasn't part of the Southwest Gang originally. He joined the heist out of sheer desperation, dead broke and drowning in hardship. After wrestling with his options, he finally tracked down Bruce, the Southwest boss, to beg for a loan. Here's how it went down. "Boss, I'm flat broke. Can you spot me some cash?" "How much you need?" "500 quid. I ain't got much to spare." "I'm strapped too. How about you join me on a job? I'm short-handed." Biggs just wanted a loan, but next thing he knew, he was in the gang. He didn't even hit the train himself. His job was to scout a train driver and play lookout, a small-time role. Still, he got hit with the same 30-year sentence as the big shots. Unlike Wilson, Biggs wasn't sent to Birmingham. He landed in the notorious Wormwood Scrubs prison in West London, near the familiar Westminster area. Officially dubbed Her Majesty's Prison Wormwood Scrubs, it was built in 1851 and once served as a reformatory. It's one of Britain's biggest lockups, packing in nearly 1,500 inmates, with stone walls so solid they feel like a fortress. Especially that 7-meter perimeter wall, a beast to climb. This place housed some of the world's most infamous criminals and earned a rep as one of the scariest jails on the planet. Even locked up, Biggs's 150,000-pound haul, about 4.6 billion Vietnamese dong at today's rates, stayed safely stashed, out of the cops' reach. A London native, he knew the city's every alley like the back of his hand. Just beyond those walls was his old neighborhood, yet it might as well have been a different universe. Jail wasn't new to him. He'd been in and out for theft and robbery before. But this 30-year stretch was a whole new ball game. At first, Biggs figured escape was a pipe dream, with the insane security and planned to keep his nose clean for a shot at a reduced sentence. But the train heist's fame meant he caught every punishment in the book. He later spilled, "They threw me in a room packed with lights, blazing 24/7, messing with my head. I couldn't sleep a wink." Fed up, he penned a letter to politicians, griping about his hellish conditions. "You're not just keeping me locked up, you're pushing me to break out." Crickets. No one gave a damn, which only stoked his fury. After 4 months, in August 1964, Biggs stumbled on a newspaper article about his old train heist pal Wilson pulling off an escape, and that lit a spark. Wilson's success pushed UK prisons to tighten security, especially for the train robbers. Biggs thought to himself, "If Wilson can do it, why can't I?" From that moment, he started hatching his own escape plan. Biggs was dying to crack Wilson's escape code, but the press kept it hush-hush. No details on how he did it, just a blurry photo of a ladder against the wall. He figured Birmingham's wall was about 3 meters, while his 7-meter wall at Wormwood Scrubs was double that trouble. The big question nagging him, how to tackle that monster. Knowing he couldn't go it alone, he started recruiting. He teamed up with a cellmate named P. Saibon, who called the 30-year sentence a raw deal, and with his release looming, jumped at the chance to help. P. swore, "Once I'm out, I'll be your outside man." Biggs was pumped. P's backup could tip the odds in his favor. Soon, another inmate, Eric Flower, signed on for the breakout crew. Come June 1965, P was freed, tracked down the cash stash Biggs had tipped him off about, and grabbed the loot. Seeing Biggs's trust, P felt he couldn't let his buddy down. He was a stand-up guy, refusing to bolt with the fortune and instead sticking to the escape plan. P sank some of that stolen cash into a furniture delivery truck, jacking up the roof 1 to 2 meters and rigging 2 long rope ladders inside. As the days ticked by, their escape date loomed closer, and everything fell into place. Fast forward to July 8, 1965, a Thursday, Biggs and Eric, 15 months into their sentences, woke up at the crack of dawn, buzzing with excitement and jitters for their big day. At 2:30 p.m., P had been staking out Wormwood Scrubs for days, rolling up in that tricked-out truck and parking it right against the prison's exercise yard, their getaway spot. 3 p.m. was the daily inmate exercise hour, the perfect window Biggs had picked. Edgy but cool as cucumbers, Biggs and Eric hit the yard, while P climbed to the roof of a nearby apartment to scope the scene with binoculars. Spotting them, ditched their prison coats over their shoulders, their pre-arranged signal, P bolted downstairs, hopped on the truck, and yanked out the rope ladders, ready to toss them over. Biggs and Eric edged toward the wall, picking up speed, their eyes darting for the ladder's drop point. P nailed the throw just as the moment hit, but 2 patrolling guards clocked the move and charged after them. With the heat on, they might have been nabbed before reaching the ladders. Talk about a cliffhanger. But out of nowhere, 2 lifers serving life sentences rushed in, tackling the guards to the ground and pinning their legs, buying precious time. Turns out, Biggs had slipped each 500 quid, over 15 million Vietnamese dong today, to stall the guards. With that breather, Biggs and Eric scrambled up the ladders, hit the wall's top, and leapt onto the truck's padded roof. P was a rock star. Beyond raising the truck, he'd added a mattress up top to cushion the 7-meter drop. Smart move. Biggs landed without a scratch. They'd timed it like pros. 3 p.m. had the fewest guards, just 2, making the escape smooth as silk. Seeing the action, 2 other inmates seized the chance, climbing the ladders too, and the whole crew piled into the truck, vanishing into southwest London's streets. Alarms screamed across the prison. Guards hit code red. But Biggs and his posse were long gone, leaving the pursuers spinning. The guards were livid. Another train robber slipping through was a slap in the face. Onlookers at the scene were floored watching Biggs and crew waltz out so easily, while the inmates erupted in cheers, hyped like they'd been freed too. Biggs had done what every con dreamed of but never dared, and the yard buzzed with joy. The media pounced, blasting news of another heist member's escape, cementing these guys as legends in under 2 years. Escaping was just step 1. The real trick was staying free. After ditching Wormwood Scrubs, Biggs holed up in a secret hideout, racking his brain for the next move. Now a top fugitive, he knew he had to bolt abroad ASAP. Planes and trains were out, too risky, so he settled on a ferry to Paris. There, he scribbled a letter to his wife, Charmian. "Bring the kid to Paris to meet me." Then he headed out. Biggs' escape sent shockwaves, with UK and European media buzzing, cramping his style. To dodge the heat, he got plastic surgery in Paris, emerging unrecognizable from his wanted poster. That tweak helped him slip through the cracks a bit, reuniting with his family for a long breather. A year later, he uprooted them to Sydney, Australia, stayed a few months, then moved to Adelaide in the south. There, an anonymous letter dropped. "Interpol knows you're here. Move now." Interpol, the International Criminal Police Organization, founded September 7, 1923 in Vienna, was hot on his tail. After reading it, Biggs shuffled his family to Melbourne, left his wife and son in Australia, and sailed from there to Panama, a Central American spot. From Panama, he flew to Brazil, picking it as his final haven since it lacked an extradition treaty with the UK, where one jurisdiction hands over a convict to another based on mutual agreements. In Brazil, Biggs rewrote his saga into a book, becoming a local celeb, pumping out books, albums, and t-shirts, raking in serious cash. He divorced Charmian and lived it up in luxury until 1997, when the UK-Brazil extradition treaty kicked in. The UK demanded his return, but Brazil said no, granting him lifelong residency. By April 2001, his health took a nosedive, and he yearned for home. Tabloids paid him £20,000, about 618 million Vietnamese dong today, for his story's exclusive, so he headed back. Reincarcerated, his health crumbled, 4 hospital stints in 6 months. In August 2009, at 80, compassion freed him, his punishment deemed enough. Wilson, the Birmingham escapee from earlier, got nabbed and extradited after 4 years. But Biggs, he not only broke out but outran the chase like a pro. Had he not returned, he could have stayed in Brazil forever. Instead, he chose to face the music back home, dying frail in a nursing home on December 18, 2013, at 84. His legendary life ended there, crafting a flawless escape and living a dazzling run after that earth-shaking train heist. Maybe in his golden years, he saw his wild youth was off track, opting to serve his time and find peace where he was born. A guilty con, he lived a talented, infamous life, blending blame and sympathy. Some regrets aren't too late. Back then, his choices were what he craved. That wraps today's video. Catch y'all next time. Bye.